The night was quiet in South Crenshaw until Grace James' phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Notification after notification lit up the screen. Confused, she reached for it, her hands trembling as she saw her own face staring back at her from dozens of text alerts and social media tags. Her private video, the one meant only for her children, leaked. Grace pressed play. On the screen, her voice, raw, cracking with emotion, confessed everything she had kept hidden for years. Now, millions of strangers were watching what was meant to be her final goodbye. Her chest tightened, her knees buckled. The phone slipped from her hand and clattered against the hardwood floor. As the room spun, Grace collapsed beside it, her whisper barely audible. This wasn't supposed to happen. Cut to Los Angeles. Spencer James sat in the locker room, still in his football gear, as his teammates huddled around their phones. A hush fell over the room when someone pressed play. Spencer froze as his mother's face filled the screen, her pain spilling out for the world to see. He ripped the phone from his teammate's hand, disbelief and fury colliding in his chest. "Who leaked this?" Spencer shouted, his voice breaking. But deep down, a darker thought clawed at him. Why had his mother recorded this in the first place? Without hesitation, he grabbed his bag and stormed out. Elsewhere in Crenshaw, Dillon James sat in a diner booth, laughing with friends, until the TV above the counter flickered to Grace's tear-streaked face. The diner went silent. Dillon's smile vanished. Nah, this ain't real," he muttered, pushing back from the booth. His hand shook as he fumbled to call Spencer, but Spencer didn't answer. Across town, Coop was in the recording studio, mid-verse, when her producer's phone buzzed. He turned the screen toward her. Coop's heart stopped. Grace, crying, confessing. Words Coop had heard before, but never imagined the world would. She ripped off her headphones. "This ain't supposed to be out there. Who the hell?" Her eyes filled with guilt. She knew more than Spencer or Dillon did, but now the secret wasn't hers to carry alone. By midnight, all three, Spencer, Dillon, and Coop, were racing back to South Crenshaw, each with anger boiling in their veins and questions burning in their minds. They didn't meet Grace at the door. Instead, they collided with each other. Spencer's voice thundered first. "What did you know, Coop? You always in the middle of things." Dillon snapped back, pointing at Spencer. "Don't start, bro. You too busy living your big NFL life to even notice Mama's break-in? Down. This on you." The arguments overlapped. Rage, guilt, betrayal, filling the living room like wildfire. But then, silence. Because the house was empty. Grace was gone. Her purse was still on the couch, her keys still on the hook. Only her phone was missing. Spencer's stomach dropped. Where the hell is Mama? And with that question echoing in the hollow house, the scene cut to black. Cliffhanger, Grace James missing. The night air was heavy as Spencer, Dillon, and Coop pushed through Grace James' front door. The house, usually filled with the smell of her cooking, the sound of her laughter, the warmth of her presence, was chillingly silent. The ticking of a wall clock was the only sound. Dillon called out first, his voice cracking. "Mama? You here?" No answer. The living room looked untouched, almost staged, pillows neatly placed, the TV remote sitting dead center on the table. It was wrong. Too perfect. Spencer stormed into the kitchen, his eyes scanning every detail until they froze on a single envelope resting on the counter. The handwriting was Grace's, delicate and deliberate. The words on the front sent a shiver through him. "To the one who truly loves me." He picked it up, and for a moment his breath caught. His fingers trembled, desperate to open it. But Dillon's hand shot out, snatching the letter away. "Dillon, give me that." "She meant me, Spencer. I'm the one who's been here. Always. Not you." "Spencer, you serious right now? This ain't about you or me, D. It's about finding Mama." "Dillon, nah, it is about us. You left. You chasing your dreams while I stayed. She needed someone, and I was here. She meant me." The tension snapped like a wire. Spencer lunged forward, grabbing the letter back, his jaw tight. "Spencer, you don't get to decide. We'll read it together." Before they could, Coop stepped between them. Her eyes darted nervously, her voice low. "Coop, y'all don't get it. That letter ain't no love note, it's a test. She's trying to see which one of us deserves the truth." The words hit both brothers hard. Their anger shifted to suspicion. Not just at each other, but at Coop, too. Spencer narrowed his eyes. "You know something you ain't telling us, Coop?" Before she could answer, Dillon shouted, slamming his fist against the counter. "All I know is Mama's gone, and you two actin' like it's a damn competition. We need to find her, not fight over some letter." The three stood in the kitchen, the letter between them like a live grenade, threatening to blow apart what little unity they had left. And then, movement. Spencer froze. Out the window, across the street, a shadow shifted. A man lingered under a flickering streetlight, his eyes locked on the house. Coop whispered, barely audible. "Y'all see that?" The figure adjusted his cap, stepped back into the darkness, and disappeared. The silence that followed was suffocating. Spencer clutched the letter, his voice low, urgent. "Somebody's watching us." Cliffhanger. The James children aren't alone. Someone dangerous is out there, keeping an eye on every move. The following morning, the James house was suffocating with tension. Spencer hadn't slept. He sat at the table, clutching the unopened letter. Dillon paced like a caged animal, his sneakers thudding against the floor, while Coop sat silently in the corner, biting her nails. Every shadow outside the window made them jump. That man from the night before wasn't just a neighbor. Whoever he was, he'd been watching. Then came the knock. 3 sharp raps against the door. Spencer leapt to his feet. "Stay back," he ordered, his voice low, but Dillon shoved past him and yanked open the door. There he stood, Corey James. Older now, worn down by years of absence, but undeniably him. His eyes were bloodshot, his jaw tight as he took in his sons. Men now, not the boys he had left behind. The silence cracked with Dillon's voice, filled with venom. "Dillon, nah, you dead. You been dead to us for years. What the hell you doing here?" Spencer's fist clenched. "Spencer, you don't get to just show up. Not after what you did to Mama, not after what you did to us." Corey's voice wavered but carried a strange desperation. "Corey, you think I walked away? You think I wanted that? I was driven out, forced to disappear." Coop stood, crossing her arms. "Man, miss me with that. Nobody forced you to abandon your family." But Corey shook his head, his voice cracking. "You don't know the truth. Grace knew. She covered it up, to protect you all. But it cost me everything." Spencer's eyes narrowed. "What truth?" Corey looked at him, looked at Dillon, and then away, as if even saying it out loud could bring danger to the door. South Crenshaw ain't just football games and block parties. The gangs, the boosters, the politicians, they're all connected. I got too close. I knew too much. That's why I had to go. Grace kept y'all safe by lying." Dillon's face twisted with disbelief. "So you hid while Mama carried the weight? While we thought you ain't give a damn?" Corey's silence was its own confession. The room spun with rage, hurt, and confusion. Spencer took a step forward, his voice shaking. "If Mama was protectin' us, then why's she making goodbye videos? Why's she disappearing now?" Before Corey could answer, Dillon stormed out of the room. Minutes later, he returned with something clutched in his hand, a faded folder pulled from Grace's old desk. His eyes were wide, his voice trembling with betrayal. "Dillon, look at this. Mama knew where you were. She knew all along." Spencer snatched the papers, his stomach dropping as he read. Addresses, dates, notes in Grace's handwriting. Grace hadn't just known Corey was alive. She had been tracking him. The silence shattered. Dillon's voice broke as he hurled the folder across the table. "All those nights she cried, telling us she didn't know where you went. She lied. To me. To us." Spencer's hands shook as the truth sank in. His mother hadn't just protected them. She had deceived them. Cliffhanger. For the first time in his life, Spencer James wondered if he could still trust Grace. The folder lay scattered across the James kitchen table, pages torn and crumpled from Dillon's outburst. Spencer stared at the papers like they were poison, while Dillon stood with his chest heaving, rage burning in his eyes. Corey tried to speak, but Spencer silenced him with a glare. "Spencer, don't say another word. This ain't about you anymore." Dillon snapped. "Dillon, the hell it ain't. He's standing right here, alive, and Mama lied to us about it. Lied to me. And you?" He jabbed a finger at Spencer. "You knew pieces of this before, didn't you?" Spencer's jaw tightened. He couldn't deny it. Grace had dropped hints over the years, moments where he had suspected the truth, but he'd buried them, trusting her. "Spencer, I didn't know. I had suspicions, that's it." "Dillon, man, don't play me. You always had the answers while I was kept in the dark. I'm done being the little brother who don't know nothing." The words stung deeper than either of them expected. Coop stepped forward, her voice sharp. "Coop, y'all pointing fingers when the real problem is bigger than all this. Grace didn't lie 'cause she wanted to. She lied 'cause she had to. And I know that for a fact." Spencer spun toward her. "Spencer, what the hell you mean, Coop? What do you know?" Coop hesitated, chewing her lip, then sighed. The secret weighed too heavy now. "Coop, I've been in contact with Grace. She reached out weeks ago asking me to help her put together that video. Said it was the only way to make y'all understand." The room exploded. Spencer slammed his fist on the table, the sound echoing through the house. "Spencer, you knew! You knew she was planning that message and you ain't tell us?" Dillon's face twisted with betrayal. "Dillon, so you been playing middleman this whole time, Coop? While I thought Mama was losing it, you was in on it?" Coop's voice cracked. "Coop, I ain't in on nothing. I was trying to protect her. Y'all don't know the pressure she was under, the stuff she was fighting." But Dillon cut her off, his voice sharp as glass. "Dillon, nah, you don't get to act like the hero now. You just as bad as her. Both of y'all keeping secrets while me and Spencer fight over scraps of the truth." The tension boiled over. Dillon shoved Spencer. Spencer shoved back. The two brothers nearly came to blows before Corey tried to separate them. "Corey, stop! This is exactly what they want. This family torn apart." But his words fell flat. To his sons, Corey was still a stranger. As the shouting match reached its peak, Coop's phone buzzed in her pocket. She glanced at the screen, and her heart stopped. A single message glowed against the dark background. "Stop digging," or "Grace won't come back." Her breath caught. The blood drained from her face. She stuffed the phone back in her pocket before anyone noticed, but her hands were trembling. Spencer finally stormed toward the door, his voice raw with fury. "Spencer, I don't care what y'all say. I'm finding Mama, with or without you." Dillon barked after him. "Dillon, good! 'Cause I don't need you, or her lies. I'll find my own damn answers." The family shattered in an instant, each storming off in different directions. And Coop, standing alone, the secret text burning in her pocket, knew something far darker was waiting for all of them. Cliffhanger. Someone out there had Grace, and they were watching every move the James family made. The streets of South Crenshaw were buzzing with rumors by the time Spencer returned home. His anger still smoldering like wildfire, he stormed into the family's old basketball court, now abandoned, and froze mid-step. Olivia Thompson stood there, leaning against the wall, arms crossed, a mischievous smirk tugging at her lips. "Olivia, well, if it isn't Mr. NFL superstar back in the neighborhood." Spencer's jaw tightened, a mix of irritation and something else, something he hadn't felt in months, flickering through his chest. "Spencer, Olivia, what are you doing here?" She pushed off the wall, walking closer, her eyes locking with his. "Olivia, looking for answers, same as you. Seems like your mama's secrets aren't the only ones we're all dying to uncover." The air between them thickened. Spencer's heart thumped, betraying him, even as his mind shouted to stay focused. "Spencer, you aren't supposed to be back here. You're stirring enough trouble already." Olivia's smile softened into something dangerous, something he couldn't resist. "Olivia, maybe I am. Maybe I like a little chaos." For a moment, the world outside the court didn't exist. Their past, the heartbreak, the late nights, the unspoken what could have been, all rushed in. And then, impulsively, they collided in a kiss, raw and desperate, a forbidden spark reigniting after years of restraint. Meanwhile, Dillon was approaching from the other side of the court, unaware of the reunion. He slowed when he spotted them, the kiss frozen in his eyes like a punch to the gut. Dillon, voice tight. "Oh, come on, really?" Spencer and Olivia sprang apart, guilt and shame painting their faces. Spencer? "Dillon, it's complicated." Dillon, "Yeah, well, keep it complicated somewhere else. You think we got time for this right now?" Coop stepped out from the shadows, her hands on her hips, her expression a mix of exasperation and worry. "Coop, forget the drama for 2 seconds. Grace is missing, people are watching, and you're standing here, kissing like teenagers. Really?" But before anyone could settle, a soft, deliberate cough echoed behind them. Layla James, Dillon and Spencer's half-sister, sharp-eyed and impossibly aware, had walked in. She froze, taking in the scene. Spencer and Olivia, caught in the act, faces flushed, hearts pounding. Layla, "Well, isn't this cozy?" The tension exploded instantly. Dillon's jaw clenched. Spencer's heart thudded painfully in his chest. Olivia tried to recover, but the damage was done. Lila, smirking cold. "Guess some secrets don't stay hidden as long as we think, huh?" The brothers exchanged a look, anger, shame, and fear mingling in their eyes. Coop's face paled as she realized this new revelation could shatter everything, even before they'd solved the mystery of Grace's disappearance. Cliffhanger. Lila had seen everything, and now she had leverage. The family's fragile trust teetered on the edge of total collapse. The night air in South Crenshaw was thick with tension. Spencer paced back and forth in Grace's living room, the taste of guilt and anger bitter on his tongue. Dillon leaned against the wall, arms crossed, eyes dark with frustration. Coop sat on the couch, her hands trembling as she scrolled through her phone, still reeling from the previous confrontation. Then came Lila's explosive revelation. Lila. So, apparently, our big brother and his ex decided now was the perfect time to rehearse a soap opera scene. Really classy, Spencer. Spencer's face burned crimson. Spencer, Lila, this isn't the time. But Dillon snorted. Dillon, "Oh, it's always the time for family drama, apparently. Thanks for keeping us honest, Lila." Olivia tried to intervene. Olivia, "Enough. You think I'm the problem? Look at the bigger picture. Grace is gone. Your family's falling apart, and you're all pointing fingers at me." The shouting match escalated, the room vibrating with tension until Dillon stormed out, furious. Minutes later, he returned, but this time, he wasn't alone. Corey James had slipped quietly into the house, his presence dark and commanding. Corey. "Dillon, we need to talk. Alone." Dillon followed him into the hallway, leaving Spencer, Coop, and Olivia behind. Dillon. "What is this? You think I'm just going to forgive you after everything?" Corey. "I don't expect forgiveness. I expect you to understand. Grace protected you by keeping me away. But there's more you need to know." Corey handed Dillon a folder filled with documents, photographs, and letters, evidence of his hidden dealings in South Crenshaw, connections that were dangerous, criminal, and deeply entangled with the city's elite. Dillon's eyes widened in horror as he read. Dillon, you were involved with them? All this time? Corey, "I did what I had to do, to protect her, to protect you all. You think it was easy leaving you? Easy watching from the shadows?" Dillon's anger wavered into confusion, then into fear. Dillon, "So Mama was right? You're worse than we imagined, but she kept us safe?" Corey nodded gravely. Corey, "Exactly. But now, we have a bigger problem." Dillon glanced back toward the living room. Spencer's voice echoed from afar, yelling at Olivia. Coop's face was pale, her hands shaking. Dillon turned back to Corey, who leaned in close, voice dropping to a whisper. Corey, "I can't stay, not here, not now. Too many eyes, too many ears." Before Dillon could protest, Corey disappeared into the shadows of the house. Dillon ran to the living room, but when he returned, all he found was a dark streak across the hardwood floor, blood. His stomach dropped. Dillon. Corey. No, Corey. The sound of his own panicked breathing filled the house. Outside, the faint echo of footsteps disappeared into the night, leaving only the chilling silence behind. Cliffhanger. Corey James had vanished and left behind a trail of blood that promised danger, betrayal, and unanswered questions. The James living room smelled of old paper and dust as Dillon and Spencer sifted through Grace's belongings. The air was thick with tension, the kind that made every creak of the floorboards feel like a warning. Coop hovered nearby, nervously glancing at the doorway as if expecting someone, or something, to appear at any moment. Spencer picked up a small, leather-bound journal from the shelf, its cover worn from years of use. Spencer, think this is one of hers? Coop nodded, biting her lip. Coop, yeah, she kept these hidden for a reason. Told me once they were personal, her thoughts, her regrets, things she never wanted anyone to see. Dillon flipped open another journal, eyes scanning quickly, his breath caught as he read the first lines. Grace had written not just about Corey, but about the lengths she went to protect her children, the secrets she buried to keep them safe. Dillon, she knew about Corey all along, every step of the way. Spencer's hands shook as he read further. His mother had chronicled her fears, her loneliness, the night she cried herself to sleep while raising 3 children alone. But then came a line that made his heart stop. And the truth about Spencer and Dillon, I can't tell them yet. They mustn't know the danger it brings. Only one of them shares a father with me, and if the wrong person finds out— Spencer froze. His gaze shot to Dillon, whose face had turned pale. Spencer. Wait, what do you mean? Only one of them shares a father. Dillon's voice was tight, incredulous. Dillon, you're telling me we don't have the same dad? Coop's eyes widened. Coop. Oh no, this is bad. This is really bad. Spencer slammed the journal shut, his mind spinning. All the resentment, the anger, the sense of betrayal, they were magnified 100-fold. Grace hadn't just kept Corey a secret. She had hidden the most fundamental truth about their family. Spencer. All these years, all this fighting, and it wasn't even real. Not completely. Dillon's hands shook as he clutched the journal like a lifeline. Dillon. Why? Why would she hide this from us? Coop swallowed hard. Coop, she did it to protect you guys. From the people who'd use that knowledge against you, from the truth about Corey, from the danger she never told you about. Spencer's fists clenched, rage mixing with grief. Spencer, protect us? Mama lied to us our whole lives. How are we supposed to trust anything she says now? The 3 sat in stunned silence, the weight of Grace's secrets pressing down on them like a physical force. Then Dillon's eyes caught another folded piece of paper tucked in the back of the journal. He carefully unfolded it. Dillon. Guys, this isn't finished. Her last entry, it ends mid-sentence. The room went deathly quiet. A feeling of foreboding settled over them. Whoever had taken Grace, or whatever threat had been looming over the family, might have interrupted her before she could write the final truth. Cliffhanger. Grace's final journal entry was incomplete, and the interruption hinted that danger had come for her while she was writing, leaving her fate unknown. The morning sun over South Crenshaw barely touched the streets before chaos erupted. News of Grace's missing video and Corey's disappearance spread like wildfire, and with it, whispers of the family's secrets. Politicians, boosters, and even gang leaders were circling, each wanting to control what they feared Grace or her children might reveal. Spencer stood at the edge of the basketball court, his shoulders stiff, fists clenched. His phone buzzed relentlessly, messages from teammates, friends, and unknown numbers all warning him to stay away. Dillon paced back and forth, eyes darting to every shadow. Coop hung behind them, pale and trembling. Coop. They're watching us. I know it. Every move we make is under a microscope. Spencer's jaw tightened. Spencer. Then we fight. We don't run. But the reality hit when Coop's phone rang. A blocked number. She answered cautiously. The voice on the line was calm, chilling. Voice. You have one chance to back off. Stay quiet or your mother won't come back. Coop's face went white. Coop. They know where she is. Dillon swore under his breath. Dillon, we can't let them get away with this. Grace raised us better than that. Spencer's phone buzzed again. this time from the NFL. His coach's message was blunt. Stay away from family drama. Your career's on the line. He ripped the phone from his hand, throwing it against the wall. Spencer, I don't care about football, I care about my family. But the decision wasn't easy. South Crenshaw had become a powder keg. Every step the siblings took felt like walking through a minefield. Later that evening, as Spencer and Dillon tried to regroup, flashing red and blue lights illuminated the driveway. Police cars screeched to a halt. Officers rushing in. Officer, Spencer James, you're under arrest for the murder of Corey James. The world spun for Spencer. Spencer, what? That's impossible! Corey's alive. I saw him. Dillon grabbed Spencer by the shoulders, panic in his eyes. Dillon, we have to get you out. This is bigger than us now. Someone's framing you. Coop's hands shook as she clutched her phone. Coop, it's them. The ones who took Mama, they're trying to take everything from us. As officers led Spencer away, Dillon and Coop exchanged a glance filled with fear, determination, and helplessness. South Crenshaw had turned against them, and the family's fight was only beginning. Cliffhanger Spencer James was arrested, framed for Corey's murder, and the town's dark forces were closing in, leaving the family desperate and divided. The courthouse was packed, buzzing with reporters, cameras, and whispers of scandal. Spencer James sat behind the defendant's table, handcuffed, his uniformed heart pounding in rhythm with the anticipation in the room. Dillon and Coop sat in the gallery, tense and silent, while Olivia stood near the front, glaring at the crowd with controlled fury. The prosecutor's voice cut through the air, crisp and accusing. Prosecutor, Spencer James, you stand accused of the murder of your father, Corey James. The evidence suggests intent, opportunity, and motive. How do you plead? Spencer, I'm innocent. Corey is alive. The courtroom erupted in murmurs. Cameras flashed. Dillon leaned forward, whispering to Coop, Dillon, we need to prove him innocent. But how? Grace's journals, they're the only proof, and we don't have them. Olivia stepped forward, her voice loud and clear. Olivia, Spencer James is being framed. The evidence is fabricated, and the person responsible for this is the same person who took Grace James. Gasps filled the room. Spencer's eyes locked on Olivia, gratitude and panic warring in his chest. Hours dragged on, witnesses were called, allegations thrown, but the courtroom seemed to tilt against Spencer until a hush fell over everyone. The doors creaked, and all eyes turned. Grace James. She walked in, looking fragile yet unyielding, supported by an aide. The room froze. Spencer's jaw went slack. Dillon's eyes welled up. Coop's hands shook. Olivia's face registered shock and awe. Judge, Ms. James, are you here to testify? Grace's eyes swept over her children, lingering on Spencer. Her voice, soft but resolute, filled the courtroom. Grace, I am here, but I will not testify. Not yet. Not until the truth can be told safely. Spencer's heart sank. Spencer, Mama, you have to, please. Grace's gaze softened, but her lips curved into a small, sad smile. Grace, I'm protecting someone, not your father, but your real parent. A ripple of shock went through the courtroom. Dillon's hand flew to his mouth. Coop gasped audibly. Olivia's eyes widened, searching for answers. Spencer felt the floor drop beneath him. The judge slammed his gavel. Judge, this trial is adjourned until further notice. Spencer's mind spun. Spencer, wait, what does she mean? Who else is involved? Grace's cryptic warning hung in the air like a storm cloud. The courtroom emptied, but the weight of her words stayed, heavy, suffocating, and terrifying. Cliffhanger. Grace James had returned, but refused to testify, revealing only a cryptic hint that Spencer's real parent was someone dangerous, leaving the family and the entire courtroom on the brink of revelation. The courthouse was silent, save for the soft shuffle of papers and the murmurs of a tense crowd. Grace James sat at the front, her frail hands clutching the leather-bound journals that had held decades of secrets. Spencer, Dillon, and Coop gathered around her, hearts pounding. Every reporter, every camera, every whisper in South Crenshaw waited for the truth. Grace's eyes swept over her children, lingering on Spencer. Her voice was barely above a whisper, yet carried through the room with clarity and weight. Grace, the truth you deserve, has been too dangerous to reveal. But today, I can no longer hide it. Spencer leaned forward, eyes wide. Dillon gripped his shoulder. Coop's hands shook. Olivia watched silently, holding her breath. Grace, Spencer, your father is not who you've been told. The man you know is a politician, deeply entangled with the corruption of South Crenshaw. His power, his influence, if this truth came out, it could destroy countless lives. A gasp swept through the courtroom. Spencer's stomach churned. Spencer, Mama, are you saying? Grace nodded slowly, tears glistening. Grace, I kept this secret to protect you. I chose silence while the world blamed Corey, while you thought your father was gone. But the truth, it was killing me inside. Dillon's jaw dropped, his eyes wide with shock. Dillon, so all this time, everything. We've been living a lie? Coop swallowed hard, her voice trembling. Coop, Mama, why now? Why tell us here? Grace's gaze softened but turned pained. Grace, because the only way to honor the sacrifices, the pain, the loss, is to face it. To decide what matters more, silence to protect or truth to heal. Spencer's hands shook as he reached for her. Spencer, Mama, we can handle it. We can handle the truth. Don't hide from us anymore. Grace exhaled, closing her eyes. Her final words were measured, deliberate, filled with every ounce of love and fear she'd carried for decades. Grace, I gave you life, I gave you love, but I could not protect you from everything. The choice now is yours. Choose wisely. Protect yourselves or risk everything for justice and truth. Her head tilted back slightly, her chest heaving. The courtroom leaned in, silent, breathless, waiting. Then, without warning, Grace collapsed. The journals tumbled to the floor. Gasps erupted from the crowd. Spencer and Dillon rushed forward, heart-stopping panic filling their veins. The screen went black. Cliffhanger, final beat. Grace James collapsed in court, leaving the world, her children, and South Crenshaw hanging in suspense. Her ultimate secret revealed, but her fate uncertain. The truth about Spencer's real father, the corruption and the sacrifices she made, lingered, unresolved, like a storm over the city.